Well, today we've done 21 locks down Hatton Flight.
I'm still smiling.
Still smiling. Aching a little bit. Double width locks, big wide gates. The paddles quite hard to turn, weren't they?
25 turns on the windlass.
Each paddle.
So yeah.
But we're now in Warwick, and we thought we'd have a bit of a detour from the normal and we'd answer a few questions that we keep getting asked.
Yeah, we always try and answer questions when they come up on the vlogs, but there are some questions that come up over and over again, so we thought it just might be worthwhile going through those, because they're obviously things that people are interested in, want to know, and here we go.
Right. Question 1, Fran.
Again, forgive me for doing this, but I can't see a blooming thing, so here we go. Steve Hoare is one of our regular viewers, I think. He has asked, how do we manage getting backwards and forwards to the cottage at the moment? Do we have a car, or what do we do? A bit of a bone of contention at the moment, really, because yeah, we do still have the car, and we end up parking it wherever we can, often at a pub, and we do ask the pub owners. Usually they're happy for us to leave it there, and then dear Richie has to cycle back. Now we've got the bike on board, you cycle back,
Yeah.
collect the car, which you actually quite enjoy,
I do
don't
enjoy
you?
it, yeah.
I think he needs to get away from me every now and again,
Yeah.
and he leaves me to do the housework while he's gone, which, by the way, on a narrow boat takes 20 minutes end to end. So
20
well, it
minutes.
does when I do it.
20 minutes of Fran's as well, yeah. But yeah, it's only normally like 4 or 5 miles to cycle back, get the car, bring it back to where the boat is, then we move on again and do the same.
Some people find that they will continue doing that. I know some of the other vloggers have said that they've tried without the car and need it. We don't want
Don't want the burden, do we?
Somebody once asked me, how are you going to manage to do your shopping without a car? Well, there are shops along the canals, and we just manage. You know, you walk into the town, or you can cycle if you need to. But the car has become more and more of a burden, to be honest, to us, because we have to think about where we're going to be next, and so we're going to sell it.
We
Aren't
will
we?
sell the car, yeah, and be Carfree.
We're also getting further and further away from the cottage, and it's now taking us 2 hours to get back. So this next week we're going back to the cottage, hopefully for the last time.
Mm-hmm.
And we think we've got most of the stuff on board that we needed the car to transport, with, you know, the woodwork and stuff like that we needed to bring. So we will just manage, and we've calculated that it will be cheaper just to hire a car every now and again when we do need to be somewhere, rather than paying to maintain a car year round that is sitting there most of the time and not doing anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be car free, and I'm looking forward to it. Really am.
Yeah, me too.
So that's that. Next question, I don't know who actually asked this one. Is there a proficiency test that you need to do before you take charge of a narrowboat?
No. There's a simple answer to that.
I think they've watched us going into the trees, haven't they? So they're probably...
You can buy a boat and just go where you like without any experience. And well, we're proof for that, aren't we? And just do your own thing.
You can do a boat handling course, which, if you're nervous about it, I think, you know, it's probably a good thing to do. But there's nothing, you know, that you can't learn along the way. Other boaters and people in boatyards have given us hints and tips. I remember once, very early on, we were trying to reverse into a spot to fill up with fuel, I think, and the guy just said, oh, just bump it on the side and do this, do that, and the boat will go where you want it to do. It's fine. If you're nervous, yeah, do the boat handling course if you want to. And there are also a lot of women that are very nervous about taking the boats into locks. You find the women often doing all the heavy paddle work and opening the gates because they won't steer into a lock. There really isn't anything to be scared of, you know.
We tend to share. The going through the locks is the big thing, isn't it? I think we were like nearly 2 weeks before we actually went through a lock. and found by that time we could handle the boat. We knew what the boat wanted to do, where it wanted to go, and but it is quite scary the first time you go through locks, but you have to do it.
I was more nervous than you, and
Yeah.
Rich just got off the boat quite early on and said, "Right, you're going into this lock." I went, "No, I can't do it." But you just walked away from me, and I had to do it, and that's the best thing, really.
Now
just,
we kind of share the duty, don't we? We kind of do 5 locks, me driving, and then Fran working the locks, and then we swap around. But today you were driving most of the day, weren't you?
Yeah.
And I was quite happy doing all the pushing and shoving and lifting of the gates.
we still bump
Paddles.
and clunk a bit, but it's, unless you've got we wouldn't have gone out with a brand new boat. Pardon? We wouldn't have taken a brand new shiny boat out. I think that would be a bit nerve-wracking because you'd be so worried about it. And there are people that get a little bit sniffy about it. We met some people on holiday today, and they'd had a really bad experience down their hire boat because other boaters, and I assume that would be people with their own boat, were moaning at them and grumbling at them, and it's unnecessary, really. I just think everybody's got the right to have a good time on the canals,
Yeah.
as long as you're sensible about it and you don't go crashing into anyone else. It's the good old saying is smile and apologise.
I think it's the party boats. You get groups of lads who hire a boat for the weekend, maybe on a stag weekend, and haven't got a clue what they're doing. They're fueled with alcohol, and give the rest of the people who just want a good time on a boat a bad name. But they all should be welcome on the canals, and they should be given the chance to have the experience, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
But
When you think you're only ever going about 3-4 miles an hour, you're not going to do any real damage, are you?
and they're built for bumping and crashing around. This boat's 16 years old. There are boats on the canals 30, 40 years old at least, that still got plenty of years in them, and they're solid things. And unless you're going at full pelts into the side of another boat, you're not going to do anybody any damage. So
We haven't got bow thrusters. Some boats have a bow thruster, which actually helps you to steer, a lot
front
better.
end of the boat, yeah.
But I don't know. Our boat is 50 foot long. I think if maybe a 70 foot long boat, you might need that more. But it's really not worried us, does
No,
it,
we've
at all?
managed.
So that's fine. Somebody has asked us, or a couple of people have asked us, if they can have a tour of the cottage, because we've shown you quite a few bits and pieces around the boat. Well, that will come. We've held off because the cottage has been full of paint and wood and packing boxes and all sorts. But when we go back next week, everything should be ready for us to let it as a holiday let. So we will give you a little tour of the cottage, and maybe give you some links as to how you can hire it if you'll hire it, rent it. If you wanted to use it, it's there. It's there. So
It's a lovely little cottage. It's a semi-detached cottage in a beautiful place, a beautiful part of the world on the Welsh border, just inside England. And we love it there. And we've been, what's the expression? Tormented, haven't we, between the boat and the cottage at times?
Yeah.
But
boat wins.
boat wins,
Yeah.
hands down, no problem.
Yeah.
But we do like going back there. But next time will be the last time for a long time.
Howard Eastman.
Oh, Howie, how did you do?
Howard,
a
always
regular contributor.
Commenting, and we love all your comments, so please keep them coming. Howard has asked if if all the tunnels are able to pass. You can take 2 boats that pass each other in them. You can answer this.
No, they're not. Some tunnels can only take a single boat going through. We haven't experienced those tunnels yet, and some of the tunnels are so long you have to book your passage through, and we'll do that. Hardcastle tunnel, I think you have to book through. That's a really long tunnel. The longest we've been through is just over a mile, I think.
Yeah.
Which is long enough because it's boring. in there. It's great for the first 200 yards, but after that you're thinking, tum-ti-tum, you know, when's this going to end? But yeah, tunnels are an essential part of the canal navigation, and yeah, it's boring, is all I can say, going through tunnels and wet.
There are stories of some of the tunnels being haunted, and I think some people are frightened of going through them. I've heard stories of people that will go down the boat, won't come out, and will walk over the top. But it's no big deal really. It's just a bit damp and cold.
The last tunnel we went through yesterday, Shrewy Tunnel, it was dripping wet. We didn't have a brolly. We didn't bother putting any clothing on, and you get wet now and again, but it's not a problem. But our lamp failed at the front. We got through, and about 30-40 yards in, I said to Fran, is the lamp working? And then switched the button off and switched the button on, no difference at the front, and no, the lamp wasn't working. So we revved it up a bit and got through as quick as we could.
Hooted the horn a few times.
Hooted the horn a few times and got through to the other end. But fortunately we haven't got to do another tunnel for a few weeks, so we can get the lamp fixed or try and fix it myself.
But people, for those that don't know, when the boats were being horse-drawn, obviously the horses wouldn't go through the tunnel, they went over the top, and the people on the boat used to lay on the roof of the boat
on planks
and walk,
walk
the boat through the tunnel, which when you're talking about a tunnel that's over a mile long, that must have been some feat to do that really.
They were hardy people.
They were hardy people, not like us softies.
Like us leisure cruisers.
Andrew Merch has asked, how does the boat handle a river as opposed to the canal? Well, we've only done one little stretch of river at the moment, which was not a problem to us at all. It wasn't very tidal, was it? We could feel the current pushing us along. We went much faster than we would normally do, but we haven't really got that much experience of that really. There are warnings every time you go from the canal onto the rivers. There are level warnings, and if it's potentially in flood conditions and it's in amber or on red when it's flooding, you don't go on it. We met some people last week that had got stuck for 24 hours. I think there were 6 of them stopped in a lock because the river was flooding and they'd been told not to go any further, so they all had to just
spend the night in the lock,
because there was nowhere for them to go. So you really have to take heed of the warnings. I wouldn't go on a river if it's in amber, red conditions, unless you had to.
But they were really disappointed because they couldn't get to the pub. And they got no beer on board.
Bad planning that is. We're yet to do the Thames, aren't we?
We're going to do the Thames soon, yeah, but none of it is tidal except for that little bit between up to Teddington Lock, is it? And then we go on the Grand Union. Well, we'll sort it out, but yeah, there's a little bit that is tidal. So you have to have an anchor on board and ready to use if necessary. We'll get a life ring, but
I think you just have to be a little bit more conscious that a river is very different, and if anything happens to you on a canal and you fall and you just switch the engine off, the boat will stop and you can stand up in a canal. It's only a few feet deep, but obviously on a river, if anything happens and you fall off, the boat could be going one way, you could be going another way. So just a little bit more safety conscious.
Just a different discipline altogether, isn't it? Yeah.
Roland Peters has asked, what made us decide to sell up? Is the cottage an income, or is it a case of us keeping one foot on land?
No, we don't feel we need to keep a foot on land. We don't want to be on land. The cottage is purely an income generator for us to be able to live this lifestyle. We've gone from a big house in Norfolk, and we bought a smaller house, which is not that much smaller actually, is it? But it's just purely to provide us with an income, so we don't have to work, and we can carry on doing this life.
We'd made a lifestyle change a few years ago, moved from Essex, just outside London, out to Norfolk, thinking that we were having a go at the good life really, growing our own vegetables, and we had a dog bed and breakfast business going.
cut flowers, selling cut flowers at markets, and
but it all got quite busy, and we found that the peaceful life that we were after then meant me getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to bake bread for market, and you for cutting flowers, and then we had dogs arriving at 8 o'clock, and at one point I think you had to sleep downstairs with a particularly nervous dog that wouldn't settle.
yes.
And we just somehow felt that we might as well have been getting up and going back to work again. We weren't going the places that we wanted to go to. I've not seen as much of the country as you have in previous careers. When you were travelling around, you've seen so many places I've never seen. And living on the boat and travelling on the boat just means, we can see we're at Warwick now. I've never been to Warwick. I'd never been to Stratford-upon-Avon. I'd never been to Oxford, which is where we're heading for. So yeah, it was. It's for all those things, and we were fortunate enough that we did own a property. We've given up quite a lot to do this. We've given up a lot of the luxuries. We've sold loads and loads of stuff.
And we've got rid of so much ephemeral junk that goes around living on a land that you just don't get rid of, and we've come on board, and all this stuff that we've accumulated we've just had to get rid of because we've got nowhere to put it. And you don't miss it once you've got rid of it.
And that links on to another question that somebody asked is, what do you miss about land life? And I don't think I miss anything.
I miss a little bit of television. We planned to come on board and not have a television, and I don't know how I'm going to get on next month when the Tour de France is on, because that's a real favourite of mine, is watching the Tour de France for 3 weeks every July. But I'm sure I'll find a way. But no, we've not missed television at all. There is a series on BBC they've run this last month that I really want to watch. But we haven't got a television licence. The cottage has a television, but we haven't connected it to anything yet, so we don't have to pay for a television licence. But as soon as that is connected and we're paying for a television licence, then I'm sure we'll watch bits and bobs of TV on the laptops, which means we'll have to be in a good Wi-Fi area where we can pick up and download or watch streaming television. But no,
it might be more important in the winter. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, that's going to be the test, is the winter. Yeah.
When it's dark here at 4 o'clock. But having said that, we can watch DVDs and stuff. So, and I really have thought hard about it. And having been a gardener all my life, and there's certain things I thought I would miss, my bees and the piano. There's so much more that's replaced that. No.
We can watch DVDs, can't we?
But we fall asleep.
If we don't fall asleep.
Being out on the boat.
We tried twice to watch a film and we've fallen asleep both times, haven't we? Still haven't watched it.
Maybe
and
they
that's been
just
weeks
weren't
ago.
Good films. They were
great
good
films.
Well, they were good films, but yeah, I think I'm actually looking forward in a way to cosy winter evenings, light the fire and sit down and watch a film. But at the moment, no, we're not missing anything. So that's it. I mean, that's really the reasons that we moved into this lifestyle, didn't we? And yeah, that's fine. Meeting people. Someone's asked us about the people that we meet on the canals. Have we got, you're meeting friendly people, any antagonism towards us on the canals? And no, we've not met with any problems. Everybody is so friendly. The boating community is so friendly, but also people that are just out on day trips or on holidays or walking past the towpath. We moored up here about 4 o'clock today. We have had a quick pint in the pub, and we've already got to talk to people, the 2 boats in front of us and the boat behind us, and we've met Australians, New Zealanders,
even Canadians.
Some people behind us are policemen on holiday, and everybody talks to everybody. Everybody's interested.
And the cyclists and runners on the towpath, they'll stop and talk to you. The dogs, everybody loves the dogs, don't they? And it's just conversations just spring up from nowhere. You know, you go to a lock and you're opening a lock, and somebody walks across the bridge and they'll start talking to you, and you end up talking to people about their lives and what they're doing, and you know, lots of people say how envious they are of our life, and I suppose we're lucky. You know, we can do this, and a lot of people can't, or think they can't, if they want to, that is. But even if you want to spend your life travelling around Europe in a bus or a what are they? Motorhome. Do it. If that's what you really want to do, you can find a way to do it. The trouble is, it's money, and people are bogged down with the non-essentials of life. Well, I don't know. Maybe we are lucky.
I think we're going to be living on a really small budget, and it just depends how the house rental goes. We're not going to have a lot of money to live on, and so therefore we've cut out so many of the extras. And if you're prepared to do that, and you can, then I would say just go for it and do it. We haven't looked back for 1 minute, and for me, everything that we've had to cut back on is more than made up for in all the other stuff. You know, waking up at a different place every morning, having ducks outside the window.
Listen to that blackbird singing now.
Yeah.
You know, to wake up or to go to bed, listening to the ducks quacking and the blackbird singing, it just fills your heart with joy.
Yeah.
It really does.
It does. It does. Somebody just asked me how we're managing to water the plants when we're backwards and forwards. Well, that's not always been that easy, and I will do something about that in a future vlog. But yeah, we're learning on that. It's not been a total success this year, but we are picking salads and eating them now, aren't we?
You've got tomatoes on these
tomatoes growing,
plants here.
Eating salad leaves and radishes.
I think we're both very experienced gardeners, and I think once we are living on board 100%, your intention is to have the whole boat covered in eatables.
Yeah, it will be. It's just, you know, watering. We're not using canal water to water the plants because they're edible plants. I don't really fancy that might be absorbed from the water. So at the moment, because we've been leaving the boat maybe for a week at a time, 5 days at a time, the plants have suffered a little bit. But hopefully come next week I'll be able to do my morning and watering, evening watering, and we'll be fine, won't we?
Yeah.
So
Easy
that's
peasy.
good. Oh, that was the last one, and you're going to have to answer this because I don't know, and that's the music. So many people have commented on the music on the video.
It's going across the bottom of the screen as we speak. The music comes with the software we use, or I use, for doing all the editing.
You get up to Fran's son.
Fran's son is a musician, and I picked a track from his CD and put it into an episode, and then all of a sudden adverts were coming across all our videos because we'd chosen a copyrighted piece of music, even though it was Fran's son and we got permission to use it. So we had to take it out because I don't want our videos, our vlogs, being populated with adverts. That's the one thing I don't want. I watch a lot of YouTube, not just canal people but other things, and it's so annoying that you get these adverts come up, and I just don't want that, because the amount YouTube pay you for it is just pointless. So hopefully he's going to record something for us any day now that we can put in.
Yes, we're hoping to get him on the boat, aren't we? Have him on top of the roof playing guitar for us, but who knows.
But
Joe, get your act together.
Yeah, Joe McCarthy. But we'll put a link again at the bottom in the description at the bottom. So basically that's about it. It's just a few questions and answered. Please keep the thumbs up, keep subscribing, keep commenting, because we love it, don't we?
And thank you again to our patrons, whatever you call them. Means a lot to us, and we love the comments that you put on there, and we love the advice, the information. One great bit of advice I've got to say with that: all you people who told us about Skin So Soft, more product placement. We were
Avon Skin So Soft.
we were being plagued by horseflies the other day, and I didn't have a lot of faith in this, but I did actually happen to have some, and we sprayed a bit on our legs, and these horseflies were completely confused, weren't they? They wanted us, but they didn't want
They were
the Skin
hovering
So
around
Soft.
us but would not land on us, and it's great. Yeah.
So yeah, thank
Superb.
you for that. Yeah.
Good tip.
So keep the tips coming in, keep the questions coming in. We'll answer as many as we can as we go through.
And a proper episode will be up in a few days about where we've been and what we've been doing this week.
So thank you for watching.
Cheers.
Bye.